protests that are going on in LA. I 100% do. Please keep going. Burn down your own backyard if you must. You know why? Because this right here is the greatest campaign ad that this side never had to pay for. Y'all motherfuckers out there in Los Angeles throwing a full-blown fucking tantrum. Like y'all just crawled out the Rio Grande, screaming death to America, in a country that gave you the fucking freedom to do that shit. You were born at Kaiser Permanente in Burbank. Stop it. You ain't El Chapo, you're Chris from Pasadena. You ain't cartel born. You were Target born with a Costco membership by age 5. Half you motherfuckers protesting ain't even Mexican. You're American with Mexican heritage. And a tattoo of the Virgin Mary you got on a Vegas bender. Don't get it twisted, I respect the heritage. But flying a foreign flag while shitting on the country that gave you the fucking freedom to do it, that's not pride. You don't even go to fucking Mexico unless it's for spring break in Cancun with a passport you got from the US government. And you won't go live there. Why? Because you like your DoorDash, your 7-Elevens, your air conditioning, and your freedom to scream dumb shit without a cartel rolling up on your motherfucking ass. And let's be honest, ain't nobody screaming death to Mexico while flying an American flag through Guadalajara. You know why? Because that's how you end up in a back alley, starring in Cartel TikTok Season 3. Meanwhile, the rest of America is sitting back watching you block freeways during rush hour, destroying businesses, wearing $300 fucking Jordans, screaming about injustice, in the city with the most social programs and diversity hires in the fucking country. Y'all are the political version of throwing a Molotov cocktail at a fucking Prius because you're mad about gas prices. So listen, I'm not mad you're passionate. I'm mad you're dumb. And your dumbass behavior is helping the other side more than a Trump rally in Texas with free brisket. Every time y'all riot, loot, tearing up your own shit, you're just birthing another red voter. So yeah, I support the protest. Keep fucking going. Keep flying flags of countries you ain't got the fucking balls to move to. And shitting on the system that literally gives you the right to shit on it.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Nierman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. Y'all thought I was muted. Y'all thought, Boomer doesn't know he muted. Nah. That was a long good. Okay. Warning. I'm likely to rant at some point tonight. There's a lot of different stories. I couldn't even list off all the different stories. I really just couldn't. I couldn't list them off. There's a lot of different news things that broke today. Most of it pisses me off. Most of it makes me annoyed. Some of it makes me laugh. Some of it makes me scratch my head and say, what? Yeah. Like, I didn't even put in there that Breyer signed the most freaking stupid TRO imaginable. I walked you all through what the government asked for. Even that he couldn't give them. The tiny little bit, the shred that they asked for, he couldn't give them. With his stupid pre-written 38-page report. And then he has his oral arguments so that he can reach a conclusion. Don't tell me you have oral arguments you can reach a conclusion and come out with 38 pages 4 hours later. That's crap. That means that everything you did during that oral argument was performative. You had that pre-written. We all know you had that pre-written. You don't come out 4 hours later with 38 pages because let me tell you something. It takes a while to come out with 38 pages with citations and notes and case law and stuff. This was pre-written, 110%. This was written yesterday. So you come out here with your stupid little performance crap as if like you're having some sort of epiphany. Oh, let me just, get your thoughts. Like, what would you say in this type of position? Oh, let me have like this whole philosophical conversation about statute interpretation. And counselor for Trump, what would you say in this type of scenario? Because I really want to get your thoughts. You don't want any of that. You don't care. You're not listening. All you're doing is blah, 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 with your self-importance, just like your stupid brother and your ridiculous perspectives about what liberalism is or what a healthy America is and your outdated, ridiculous your parents like basically spat out like bad load after bad load of genetic material that this is what you come to us with. What an embarrassment. Brother of Justice Stephen Breyer comes out today with his stupid, ridiculous 38-page TRO. The one thing they asked for is like 2 lines they could have changed and given the government one thing that they asked for, which would have been reasonable. If anything that he said today, anything he said, he actually meant in good faith and was not 100% performative, anything where he's like, he's trying to think about like what is the situation with this statute? A statute that is honestly, I mean, how many times is this statute, which we're talking about 10 USC 12406, how many times has this statute been litigated in American history? 5? I doubt it. So you want to sit here and tell us how this statute should be interpreted. You want to just go off here from the stupid crazy, wacko, wino, liberal Northern District of California and come at us and start telling us that this is the way that the statute should be interpreted. This is how it should be understood. This is how it should be applied going forward. Like you have the arrogance and the hubris to start declaring this. Not only is this the way it should be. No. It's not just that. What ticked me off more than the 38 pages and the performance and the performance theater for an hour and a half that I actually dragged my butt out of a courtroom where I'm covering the Diddy trial for testimony I genuinely wanted to watch because it was going to be the redirect of Jane to see if there was any way that Maureen Comey, who while slimy and scummy, and her scumminess was revealed in further brand new shades of red and pink and gold today, that I wanted to see the one thing that she's good at, which is actually redirect. That one of the best redirects I ever saw was done by Maureen Comey. I was like, maybe she has some way to fix this. I don't know how she's gonna, but maybe she has some way to fix this. But I couldn't watch that. No. Because I had to come back for your stupid, empty performance theater oral arguments, which were a complete and total crap fest, total waste of time. That you come out there, don't let anyone record it. No. I'm going to turn Joe into my human microphone where he's bouncing around on a screen if you missed it. What I had to do because I couldn't actually show. I couldn't show anything or play audio without risking my freaking law license. So instead, I said, this is how I'm going to deliver it. I'm going to spend an hour and a half like some bozo bouncing around on my viewer's screen there as I take different roles. That when I'm talking as a judge, I'll be more in the middle. And as I'm talking as Trump, I'll be the guy on the right. And I'm bouncing around on different screens. And I'm talking for Gavin Newsom, I'm bouncing to the left so that this way my audience knows that when I'm saying words, whose words I'm trying to convey to them, and I'm sitting there like a freaking human microphone. I come running out of a courthouse, missing out on, doing my job of actually reporting in ways that no one else on earth will possibly even try to report, and I'm missing out on this because you decide I want to have oral arguments. Let's have a fully briefed oral arguments, but they're not oral arguments. No, it's not oral arguments. You just decided, likely before Trump even submitted his opposition brief yesterday. Yeah, you just decided that you're going to go off on a limb and decide that, this is how we need to interpret the statute. And I'm going to be reasonable, okay? Because I feel as if I come here as a cheerleader, to you, I am doing a disservice to you. I am a waste of time. You should never be watching me. I am boring and stupid if I come to you as a blanket cheerleader who's just going to basically say that this position that's being espoused by this human being is always right. And here it is. And I know that I'm the person who's going to come to you and that's going to be telling you this is what's happening in the courthouse. This is a good thing that evil Maureen Comey did. This is a stupid thing that Donald Trump came up with today. That's why you watch me. And that's why when I'm assessing an argument and I'm listening to the thought process behind what's going on in your interpretation of the statute, I can actually listen to the left and say, That's a fair point. That is a way that statutes are interpreted. That's a thought. That makes sense. There's logic behind what they're saying. Because I actually want to hear their arguments. I actually want to come to truth. I even had, I'll tell you this, I had today, this is like only the second time I even tried reaching out to someone like this. I had someone who's like, you know what, I can help you with your channel. We can help you with your channel and get you sponsors, not the joke stuff that I do with you guys. And I just like, here's your thing, or like, you know, my sponsor du jour, but like actual real sponsors, because frankly, I've never heard of a channel that's podcasting on a regular basis that has 100,000 subs that has never had an actual real sponsor. So I'm like, maybe I'm not doing this right. And this is not what I was born to do, is figure out how to monetize my channel. Maybe it makes sense to, you know, to see what I can make out of this channel instead of just letting whatever money happens to roll in, actually have people who have a plan for how to maximize what I spent the last 3 years busting my tail trying to build, and, you know, maybe actually, you know, run it properly so I can, you know, get whatever levels of mana that God is willing to drop down here for me. So, and I was talking to them. The reason I'm bringing this up, because frankly, backroom stuff I know none of you care about. The reason I brought this up is because they were talking to me about me being a sponsor. I was like, yeah, I'd be willing to sponsor. But I said, there's one caveat. I said, I don't want to end up sponsoring food. Because I'm not going to, because if I'm going to sponsor food, some sort of food thing, I want it to be something that has passed my lips. And I don't want to, and I said, I'm an Orthodox Jew, I only eat kosher, and I'm not going to sit here looking into, is this new thing I never heard of and that my audience never heard of, is that kosher, is this kosher? I'm going to sit there, I'm going to go back and forth. I was like, just stay out of the food stuff. I don't want to be the nutrition supplements. I don't want to be doing the diet thing. I don't want to be doing what Red Eagle does with the whole, you know, Survivor thing. And I'm not disparaging. I'm not doing Field of Greens. Because I don't know if I can actually eat it, and I'm not going to eat it. And I said, the one reason that my audience, that you come back here is that you come to me is because you know that whether you agree with me or disagree with me, you think my logic is great, you think my logic is terrible, that I'm going to tell you what I genuinely believe to be the truth. And I said, I cannot in good conscience try to sell to my audience food that has never crossed my lips. That doesn't make any sense to me. I won't be able to do it effectively. I will alienate my audience, and I don't want to ever be misleading to anyone. So I said, you want to know what would be perfect for me? Because they mentioned noble gold. I said, yeah, that's perfect. I said, I'll lean in hard on the whole Jew thing, you know, selling gold. Yeah, that I'll lean in hard, and that could be actually funny. But I need to be straightforward with you. I need to be straightforward. I said, because otherwise I'm just a waste of everyone's time. I'm just a waste of everyone's time. I'm just another stupid lackey who turned on his camera and is trying to pitch a position. If I tell you something, I think my audience knows by now that if I tell you something, the reason I'm expressing it is because that is what I, in my heart of hearts, believe to be the most truthful and proper take on a position at that moment in time. And that if I'm not sure about something, I'll have enough humility to say, I think this, but I'm really not sure. And that's why you come back to me. That's why, I'll tell you something, and you should be turning off anyone who you think is going to be lying to you. You should be running away from them, because you're being manipulated. So that's the one thing I was like, and that's why I was like, even as a sponsorship that people know is sponsorship, no, I'm not doing that. If I'm going to pitch something, I want to know that this is something that I can really pitch, because that is what my channel is. So that's why when I'm covering this and I'm acting like a stupid microphone, because stupid Justice Judge Breyer here is like, no one can record or film or show anything here. So what do? I act in good faith. I could have just assumed they're never going to find me. They're never going to know. I could have done that. Even if I would get found out, am I going to lose my law license because one time no, I would get some sort of reprimand letter or something. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to respect the wish of the court, because I do respect or try to display as much respect as possible for the judiciary. This guy here may turn me into his human microphone for an hour and a half of his performance theater. And some of the arguments they made were actually sound. Some of the arguments they made about statute interpretation. And hey, why does it say whenever? And who should be the person who's deciding whether there's a state of rebellion? Who should be the person who's deciding whether or not the laws are, whether or not the president is able to carry out the laws effectively? And I think that and what is the yardstick for that? Even if you're going to say it's Trump, does that mean he can never be questioned? And I think some of the questions that Judge Breyer himself, because he's not a stupid human being. He's not. He's not. He's just open-minded to the point of stupidity. So he can process a thought and come up with some interesting ideas, but then he just takes this stupid, crazy, liberal, naive perspective as to how humanity will sort itself out based and ignore the obvious repercussions of the ridiculous rulings that he's issuing. He's just not understanding pragmatically what the lay of the land is. Either he doesn't understand it or he's a big, fat, stinking liar. There's only those two possibilities. So to me, that it's pretty outrageous. So when you come out here and say, oh, we're going to have a scheduling order. In this scheduling order, I'm going to be very reasonable. Come out here, roll arguments. Let's have a discussion about what's the proper way to interpret this. And what would you say in this situation, counselor, when he already has in the back, they're printing off copies of the order he's already typed up. Why are you wasting our time? Why? Why are you doing that? And then you even turn me into your stupid human microphone here where I got to sit here just literally repeating what is being said as it's being said and try and figure out some creative way that I can share with my audience that they'll know whose voice I'm using. Which I'm going to tell you, it felt degrading. It felt degrading. But I was like, I have to give this. I promise my audience they're going to be able to hear in on this thing. This is the next best thing I can do where I'm actually, giving sufficient deference to the courts while providing my audience with what I promised I was going to give them. And I actually feel pretty proud of what I came up with as far as a way that people can follow along with the word by word what's being said in there. And if you go back and watch it, you'll be able to see, you'll know when it's the Trump's counsel talking or the judge talking or it's Newsom's counsel talking. But it was all a waste of time. It was all a waste of time because all along it's crystal clear. You have to be so naive to not recognize that order was already pre-written. And the one thing I told my audience, the one thing I said to them, is that at the very end there, Trump's attorney, he knew he was losing. He knew he was losing. It's like, yeah, this judge is not going to give it to me. And it's not surprising because, like I said, it's Justice Breyer's brother. Justice Breyer was a notoriously liberal justice. So when we're in Northern District, California, all these factors are weighing in to the fact that he's likely to be leaning so deep into Gavin Newsom that it's giving Gavin a case of the giggles. So take that however you want. So he recognizes he's losing, and he does what every good attorney does every good litigator does when they recognize that the battle is being lost here, is you try and preserve what you can. And he said, at the very least, if you decide to grant an order, and he's like, well, I still have to think about what I'm going to do. The audacity of how he lied like that, Judge Breyer. He's like, if I decide, I don't know what I'm going to do. But yeah, okay. So he said, the one thing I ask of you is I know we're here for a TRO, but make a decision. Just jump us forward to the preliminary injunction. And if you saw the end of that video that I did there, I explained to my audience why it is he was asking for a preliminary injunction. Because if it's a preliminary injunction, they can, boom, go right to the appellate court, they go right to the Ninth Circuit and say, hey, we want to appeal. Because you need to have a final order. And a preliminary injunction is a final order, while a TRO is not. And if it's not a final order, you cannot go and appeal it. Not as of right. So, and you're likely to be bounced out. You can try to appeal it, even if it's a TRO, but you're much more likely to be bounced out. If it's a final order, you're definitely not bounced out. So he said, at the very least, if you're going to make it, don't make it a TRO, make it a preliminary injunction. No. He's like, yeah, I understand the gravity of the situation. I understand that. He seemed to display the humility of recognizing that, hey, this is like, a relatively new law and it's not clear exactly how we should read this. He's not relying He's not relying on other courts' interpretation of this statute. No. His own stupid independent reasoning, and then he doesn't want it reviewed by an appellate court. Not that we should be too optimistic that the Ninth Circuit is going to come back with anything favorable anytime too soon. But it's just the arrogance of this guy that he just comes out with this ridiculousness. Screw it. All right. Let it burn. Let it burn. I mean, this judge comes out and he's like, what I'm really doing is I'm really deciding who's going to be in charge of the California National Guard, because I'm sure Gavin Newsom is going to be using them to protect ICE agents. Are you out of your mind? Are you an idiot? Gavin Newsom, if he wanted to use them to protect ICE agents, he would have had them activated already. He very much is not going to use that. He's like, well, no one wants to see federal agents getting killed. No. You're either a liar or you're a moron. When you take that position. It's just a matter of who's leading these troops. No. That's a big, fat, stinking lie or stupidity. So yeah, in case you couldn't read between the lines, TRO was signed today, and it stayed all the way till tomorrow at noon, which means that in theory, if he runs to the appellate court decides that they want to take it, not that they have to, then in that case, they can grant a further stay. The TRO basically is giving the troops back to Gavin Newsom, saying they don't belong to Trump. And it stayed all the way till tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow at noon, I think. Ridiculousness. So wrong. So wrong. So wrong on a day of things that were so wrong. So many wrong things today. So many wrong things. And I'm basically come where I'm like, you know what? Let it burn. Let them all burn. Burn your stupid state to the ground. Go get your stupid Mexicans and let it burn. Send in 5 times as many ICE agents per raid. So this way, you know that they are people who are covering, because basically playing the role of protectors and those who are carrying out assigned duties, and basically say, F you, we're still going to do this, and let the place burn. Let it burn. Just burn down LA. He did not weigh in on the Marines. You're correct, Kimmy Joe. He didn't weigh in on the Marines. He didn't. And, he's like, well, I think it's premature for me to, because nothing's happened with the Marines, so I'm not going to order about what may happen. So let it burn. Let it burn. You think that's going to win? You think that's going to win them elections? Is that going to win them elections? No. Let it burn. Let it burn. So the ire you just heard from me right now is probably like 20% of the level of ire I feel with Donald Trump tonight. And I've said on this channel that you can make a fair case that he is the greatest president ever with the policies he's implemented. The greatest president ever. No one is in a position to question whether or not I have sufficient regard for the work that he has done as president. But some of the stuff that he said today, I don't want to, I hesitate to use this word, and I didn't write this word. I referred to it on Twitter, on X, as infidelity, because it is infidelity to what he promised over and over again about getting rid of tens of millions of illegal aliens that he's now walking back. But it felt like betrayal. It felt really like a betrayal, and a senseless betrayal, a short-sighted betrayal, a stupid betrayal. So most of you are likely too young to remember an actor named Hugh Grant in some sort of and some sort of and a scandal that he was involved in. I think it was in the late 80s, early 90s. He was a big time actor who played in a lot of rom-coms. He was the perfect, handsome British accent dude who was married to like pretty much what was regarded at the time as the hottest woman on the planet. The woman who was in those Mike Myers movies, you know her name. You know her name. What was her name? What was she? You all know her name. Whatever. I'm drawing a blank on her name. Liz Hurley. Thank you, Sue. Yes, Liz Hurley. He's married to Liz Hurley. And he decides that he's going to cheat on Liz Hurley, which right away you have to say, cheating on your wife, you're an idiot. If you're doing that, you're stupid. Worse yet is cheating on your wife when your wife is basically just, pretty much widely regarded as the prettiest human being on the planet. And then who he cheated on her with was basically this rhino in the back of a car, a hideous hooker. And you're just like, why would you do? Why would any person choose to do that? Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would any human? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? How do you come to make a decision like that? None of this makes sense. None of this adds up. It's the most mystifying thing that I think as long as I live, I will never understand. What the hell was going through Hugh Grant's head? Trump's take today was almost that bad. Almost that bad. And it felt like infidelity. It felt like a type of betrayal. It felt really, really wrong. Where I'm like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to. Why would this be happening? There's so much popularity for the get rid of all illegal aliens perspective. So much popularity for it. I think like 60% of America is behind it. Even Democrats are like, just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. And the reason it's not quite as insane as Hugh Grant is because you can understand that he's meeting some level of resistance all over the place. So that would be an incentive for him to sort of say, hey, I'm not going to be removing everyone, which is what he said. But you promised, and we all saw, you were voted in the main issue. There were two main issues. There's the economy and immigration. And what you promised over and over again is that all of these jackasses who corrupt evil Biden purposefully brought into this country, fast-tracked them into this country, didn't have the slightest regard for what their race, nationality was, didn't have the slightest regard for what kind of security risk they posed, didn't have the slightest regard for whether they were literally Chinese spies, didn't have the slightest regard was paying money and funding other agencies to just bring in and suck up people from across the globe. Like we turn into like some sort of massive vacuum, like an international vacuum of just sucking up foreigners from across the globe. Why? Why are we doing this? Gaslighting America, that's not happening. While they're paying, you're using your money to pay NGOs to just suck up more. And we say, oh, we have the perfect answers to that. We got the perfect answer. You know what the answer is that is? Too big, too rig. Too big, too rig. We're going to bring in the man, our boy, Donnie President 4547. We're going to bring him on in here, and he is going to start kicking him out and kicking him out and kicking him out, and all the planes are going to be going like out. out. There's going to be like a fleet of commercial airlines. They're going to be sucking them up, and ICE guys are just going to be throwing in all these freaking illegals. They're all going to be thrown into planes, and we're just going to be flying them on out of here. You're not even going to recognize L.A. or New York by the time we're done with it, because the place is going to feel empty. You're going to look around and be like, where did everyone go? Oh, I guess they're back in Paraguay. That's what we all thought was going to happen. This is what we were hearing. This is what stump rally after 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 stump rally of the guy who we made too big to rig. The guy we made too big to rig. We all came out in crazy massive force. I was doing show after show after show. Like this is the guy. We need him in there. We need this. This is the man. There's no other human on the planet who's right for this moment other than Donald Trump. Now, do I regret that? No, not in the slightest. This is not to say that he's a terrible president. I'm not saying that. I am not saying, no, he's obviously 1,000 times better than any Democrat president in American history. But there was no reason for the crap we heard come out of his mouth today. There was no reason for it. There is no basis for it. There is no logic to it. It is short-sighted. It is, and all the justifications and the weaseling about why we need to leave these people here. And we're going to play I'm going to play the clips for you. All the weaseling around about like the farmers and the Chinese students and all the other idiocy, which makes no sense at all. No logic behind it. None. You start talking about how he's worried about the farmers. Look, I have complete respect for our farmers. I have deep respect for them. And if they have to jack up their prices by 20% on their produce, that is the price. That's it. If it costs them more because they have to pay more for automation or legal citizens to actually be doing the work, that's the price. That's the price. That's the price it should have been all along. And what bothers me is that I feel like this betrayal is because he's trying to protect the economy so we don't see inflation. Is either that or he's basically shying away from the fight. You tell me which one it is. But either one of them is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. Because the cost of having what is estimated to be up to 50 million illegal aliens, which means like 1 out of 7 people in this continent here, under our domain, is an illegal alien. Think about that for a second. Think about that a second. $50 million illegal aliens. 50 million. And you want to start parsing out that we're going to get rid of just the criminals? No, they're all committing a crime. And when you're saying just the criminals, you mean the ones who are assessed to be a secure. What about the cost? What about the overflooded hospitals? What about the increased need for different services? What about the healthcare costs that has to be funded? What about the Section 8 and the SNAP and all the other different food benefit, all the benefits that this nanny state that the Democrats have managed to put into place here? What about the cost of those 50 million? How many of them are on the public dime? What about the shredding of integrity of our elections? What about that? What about the added costs as far as like policing these areas? What about the effect it has on the job market? And don't start sitting there saying, "Oh, they do all the give me your own stupid soft bigotry racism," where you're like, "Oh, they're the ones who are cleaning our toilets and picking our fruit," which is crap. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not that they're not feeling that. That's all they do. That's all they do. Really? And so you're the humane one. You're the humane one who's like, oh, we have to bring them into America so they can clean our toilets. What the hell kind of twisted humanity is that? Oh, we need to, because we need people who are going to clean our toilets for $7 an hour. That you're very moral. You're very, very moral. Oh, you're so morally superior that you want to save them by bringing them here and giving them $7 an hour to be cleaning our toilets. Whereas if you heard about that happening in China, you'd be calling Xi a dictator for it, and properly so. But we're the saviors here. We're the saviors. We're going to have them slaving out in the hot sun for 14 hours a day, picking fruit for apparently less money than you would have to pay someone legal to do it. It's so twisted. It makes no sense. It's illogical. It's immoral. It's corrupt. It harms America, and Americans are behind the notion of cleaning them all out. There are few issues that Americans have been so neatly unified in as they are in getting rid of the legal aliens. And you want to come out today to have some sort of press conference, start saying, well, I'm making a little bit of a shift in my position here that I said over and over again for the last year and a half is what I'm going to do. I'm having a little change of heart here because we got to look out for our farmers. What the hell does that even mean? What the hell that is wrong. Donald Trump is wrong. He's wrong. Everything about this is wrong. I haven't even gotten into the whole Chinese students part of this yet. It's wrong. It is dead wrong. Could not be more wrong. And it's more wrong coming from him than anyone else. Because he's the guy we banked on. He's the guy who's like, put me in there. I'll take care of this. We banked on him. So I call it infidelity, but I can tell you in my heart, it feels like an utter betrayal. Who the hell are we supposed to? Who's left? Who's left? Who's going to do it? So, yeah, they're here to stay. They're here to stay. I saw an interview. Megyn Kelly had Tucker Carlson on. Megyn Kelly had Tucker Carlson on, and he was like, I want to pull up the numbers. I'm curious to see how many illegal aliens has he removed so far. We're like over 100 days in here. If it's under 1 million, I'm going to be disappointed. It was 65,000. 65,000. That's like a week and a half of Biden administration. We got in 65,000. 2 weeks of Biden administration brought in 65,000, depending on the month. Some months were much worse than others. But in the worst of his times, I think he got up over 200,000. Astronomical numbers. So yeah, he's been there 100 days. He hasn't removed 1 month's worth of Biden at his worst. It's not even close. Not even half of. Not even 2 weeks of Biden at his worst. And I understand. You can say that it's going to get faster. I don't understand why it is that you have to start justifying and saying, "Oh, this is a person who's a criminal." They have to be a criminal. I've heard the left, like they come out there and they're like, "Oh, that it's not a crime. You're not a criminal. If you're a legal alien, you're not a criminal." It's like jaywalking. It's the same thing as jaywalking. Did you know it's a civil matter? It's not even considered a crime. It's not even considered a crime. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why we're not throwing them in prison. That's why we're not throwing them in prison. We're just removing them. No one's saying let's, give them a long-term penalty. But if you saw someone jaywalking, if you're a cop, you see someone jaywalking, would you say, oh, yeah, just keep jaywalking? No! You stop them from jaywalking. This is a continual jaywalking as long as they're here, because every minute they're here, it's more jaywalking because they're not allowed to be here. It's that simple. And worse yet, that the left demands that we have to confer upon them all the civil liberties that our ancestors gave their blood, sweat, and tears to earn for their descendants. All the blood, sweat, and tears that the privileges of which that your ancestors, even if they were not here on this continent fighting for American civil liberty, even if you're not a son or a daughter of the American Revolution, that your ancestors at least busted their tail trying to gain admission to be here legally. As opposed to, oh, I'm here. I just walked. Oh, yeah, where'd you come from? Oh, yeah, I came from Huevos down a mile south of the border. Now I have freedom of speech. Now I have all the. I probably go vote if I'm in California. There's state elections, and probably no one's looking close if I'm doing it in the federal elections. Everything about this was infidelity. This was wrong. It was inexcusable. The reason it was too big to rig is because we all were saying, get them the hell out. Get them out. Get them the hell out of the country. Just clean house. Get them out. And I can understand that the first early days of it, till your processes and you're getting your feedback in, and even though you're passing policies, but to actually effectuate policies, maybe it's going slower. And I was hopeful when I was seeing that interview, Megyn Kelly of Tucker Carlson. I was like, you know what? Maybe the first 100 days, you get the ball rolling. Tom Homan says we don't have enough facilities to house them and detain them while they're being processed for removal. So maybe we need to have, added facilities, because it's work, and there are steps that have to be done. I get that. So maybe in year one, it's not going to be nearly as efficient as it will be in year two. But you start caving on policy? You start caving and telling us that, like, oh, you have a whole different change of heart here, that you feel bad about the farmers? What is that? You're only removing the criminals? I agree that criminals should be the top of the list. But no, every man, woman, child. It doesn't matter if they're white, if they're brown, if they're black, if they're yellow, if they're pink, if they're blue, if they're green. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they're straight. Doesn't matter if they're gay. Doesn't matter if they have no idea what they are. I don't care. Get rid of them. Just clean them all out. Like, you want to preserve our elections? You want to have safety and security? You want to have a healthy economy? And that's what they want to make us think. They want to make us think that, like, that our economy, that's what Trump will try, because in the short term, keeping them here is easier on the American taxpayers' wallet. This is what bothers me, because I think in the short term, this is recognized as being easier on your wallet. That you're not going to see a hike in food prices, or restaurant prices, or your hotel stays are not going to get jacked up. So you're not going to be upset about the fact that you have to tighten your belt a little bit. But the long-term perspective of our prospects of our country. So now what? Just leave them here indefinitely, and their children and their children's and all of them now. Oh, okay. We'll just have 100 million. You don't even know if they hate this country. The whole point about going through illegal immigration, and if you came here as a legal immigrant, if you came to this country as a legal immigrant, I say to you, God bless you. I welcome you. Thank you for joining our country. And I don't care whether you're black, white, brown, yellow, green, purple, pink. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're man, woman, or even someone who's really deeply confused. If you came here through the proper channels, you took the proper steps, you busted your tail to get that American privilege, I say to you, welcome. Long live America. God bless America. And part of the reason I'm able to say that to you is because part of your mission is that you're supposed to be thinking and feeling, God bless America. That's what we have in common. That what I have in common with you, my new immigrant friend, who might not speak English or speak it with a broken accent, what I have in common with you is a mutual respect for the values that were espoused and became the cornerstone of our republic. That we have a mutual respect for those values, for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That you're not some crazy criminal. They didn't come here to suck the teat of the American taxpayer. And that you actually share our values and really just want to build a better life. And you've proven that. You've been vetted. And if you are someone who went through that process, and I don't care if you just got admitted yesterday, I say welcome. When you tell me that we're just all of a sudden looking at what he's basically looking at here is giving amnesty to tens of millions of illegal aliens who were just hauled in here and vacuumed from across the country but under the Biden administration, and paying your taxpayer money to get NGOs to help suck them on in here with the whole thing. No. And you have no idea who these people are. You have no idea if they hate America. You have no idea if they despise this country. You have no idea if the only reason they're here is because you get free housing, you get free food, you get free healthcare, you get free schooling, you get free education, you get free everything. So they can sit on a couch and basically collect that. And I'm not saying that people who are indigent are sitting on couches. I don't assume that that's the case with most people. But we are not the world's rich uncle. America is not the world's rich uncle. And that's how Biden treated us. If you give him the benefit of the doubt, if you think he's not evil and corrupt, even though the least corrupt Democrat treats America as if we are the world's rich uncle. Suck him on in here. So let me play for you. I've been ranting here for 47 minutes. I think this is the longest I've gone. I'm sorry that I've been looking at the chats or anything like that. I've been sitting here just railing because I was just outraged today, utterly outraged. I think this is inexcusable. But let's play the clip of him. Let's play his clip here. Un momento. This is the moment that got people, myself included, pretty outraged. But there's more. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Peter?
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers
We're going to look at his statement.
Being hurt badly by...
But that's one of the things that was the first time I saw this, was I saw his statement and I was like, what the hell is that? I saw his statement and I was like, I always make a note to myself about what I'm saving, because I'll send myself links. So this way I have it stored away for showtime. And normally I'll be like something like, government supermarkets or Simone Biles. I'll just label like that. This I just labeled WTF. WTF. Here's the statement he's talking about. Our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. What? What What does that mean, protect our farmers? What's he saying here? Thomas Massey's saying, notice the wording. He doesn't support deporting illegal immigrants. He's talking about getting rid of only the criminals. What does that even mean? What are you going to give amnesty to 10 million illegals, 20 million illegals? Is that what you're going to do? And here he is weighing in on that.
You know, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe.
Why not? Do it. Send them back. Send them back. Somehow the fields were being picked before we had this illegal immigration problem. Somehow, I don't know. The rice poppies got picked. Somehow the corn was picked. It happened. I know we don't have rice paddies. The wheat got picked, the barley got picked, the corn got picked, everything got picked. Everything worked before we had illegal immigrants. The only difference is that they're cheaper. Somehow it all happened. But I agree with exactly this. It feels like a bait and switch. He baited us in by telling us he's going to get rid of them all. And then now, here's the switch. Promised over and over again. Yeah, that's why I say it. I labeled it infidelity. So I feel like the word betrayal is a very harsh word that but it feels like it's an infidelity that feels like a betrayal.
Be what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
And my other question about
You know how he could have made this statement a little better? He could have made this statement a little better. That I'm referring exclusively to people who came in here before I was ever president. Anyone who's come in the last 10 years, sorry. The 20 people are here 20 years. You want to tell me you want to leave them in here? I think they're a much smaller percentage. I wouldn't have been happy. I would have been screaming. Don't get me wrong. I would have been screaming about that because every illegal alien should be removed. But this, when you're saying you're just removing the criminals, you're saying I'm going to be removing like 3% of the people, maximum. And 97% of the 50 million illegal aliens, they're all here to stay forever. Because if he's not removing them, who the hell is? Who is? We'll sit here hoping that J.D. Vance wakes up. He becomes our next president and does it. After they've been here for 8 years? That's not happening. That's not happening. If he does not do it, no one will. It gets worse. That's not the only insane thing that came out. That I'm sorry. There's no other word. That's not the only insane comment that came out of his mouth today. No. I wish it were. Because I think that's insane. I think it's a stupid, short-term policy perspective. I have a link here somewhere. I had it queued up in the right place. We found it. There it is. This is from the same conference. I actually searched through at quadruple speed to find the question that I wanted for you. Let me see if I'm still at quadruple speed. I slowed it down to 1.5. When you go from quadruple speed to 1.5, it feels like he's talking in slow motion.
Are you still concerned about the national security issues with Chinese students studying in the United States?
Are you still concerned about Chinese students studying in the United States.
I've always been in favor of students coming in from other countries.
What? What? Why? 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 What is the upside? What? What's the up? Tell me what the upside is. Sell me on this.
Includes China, and we have 500,000 Chinese students coming in. I've always been in favor of it. Does it mean
We have 500,000 Chinese students coming in here? If you had me guess, I would have said 30,000. And thought that's I would be like 25, maybe 30,000. 500,000?
you that you have to watch people? Yeah, you have to watch students, but you have to watch other people also. I've always been strongly in favor of it. I think it's a great thing. It's also, it's good for our schools. It's good for, I think it's good for our country. I'm also in favor of having them stay. I've been in favor of letting them stay. If you get educated for 4 years, you're willing to get educated for 4 years. I like people being able to stay. You know, they have some great students. You have some.
We don't even have great schools. Where do you have great students? What is he's getting applause here from the stupid, twisted legacy media. That's where he should have realized, wait, what's happening? I must be saying something insane because the leftist media is applauding me.
These are Republicans clapping.
No, that's not Republicans clapping. Maybe it's Republicans. They're neocons if they are.
A lot of Republicans don't like that idea. I happen to like it. I'm a real Republican, believe it or not.
No, you're really
But
not.
I like the idea. They go 4 years. To me, that's almost like, you know, just buying your way in a very legitimate way. And you know, you have stories where Apple wants to hire somebody and they can't hire him because he can't stay. He went to a great school. He finished first in his class. They made him a big offer and everything's done, but he has no idea whether or not he's going to be able to stay. And I'm all for making sure that people like that can go to work for all of our great companies. And you know what they do? They go back to their country, and there are stories that are all over the place. They go back to their company and they start a company just like they were going to start here. They end up starting it in China or India or someplace else, and now they're among the richest people in the world. They've got thousands and thousands of employees that make it great. This is happening all the time because they're not allowed to stay. And I think we'll probably end up doing something about that, right?
I don't know why we have 500,000 students. I didn't even know there were 500,000 students, period, in American institutions. 500,000 in colleges? 500,000? I guess that makes sense. 500,000 Chinese? 500,000 Chinese? Is not every spot there being taken by an American? Just taking the place of an American citizen? That's just the Chinese. That doesn't even count people from, like, I don't know, the Middle East, Thailand, South America. That's just 500,000 Chinese. What the hell's going on? What the hell is going on? How is that America first? He's going to say that, well, we get the best of the best. You're the best of the best. Well, in that case, you know, and then they stay here, so it's enriching America. It's like bringing in a good immigrant. You can make that argument. I guess that's a reasonable argument. There's at least logic behind that argument. This is as a policy? As a policy? No. So it should all work for them. Okay. Thank you. Oh, an amazing stance on what is right. Thank you very much. It was one of the dumbest orders I've read. Judge made himself into POTUS. Pointed to case law that contradicts the judge. Of course he did. Trump should activate neighboring state National Guard and ship into California. How do we find people we don't have a record for? They know where they are. How do they find any of them? I still like Sachs' interview. I don't know which interview that is. Sorry to interrupt. Can Diggers please have our chat open up? Thank you. I saw this come in. I saw you type in here. And I was like, oh crap, I forgot to open it. Right away, I went to look and fixed it. Jay Schwalbeck says, Joe, Hebrew National, have you reached out to them? They're perfect for you. I know many people who think you're a big weenie. Ask Jim. Eminem song. I'm not playing an Eminem song. That's definitely not happening. I'm not clicking that. I ain't clicking that. Not because I'm worried about the lyrics or anything, just because I'm going to get struck. But yeah, Hebrew National's not even kosher, by the way. I've never eaten Hebrew National, but that's pretty funny. Spud says, Joe, who says that these people are not in line for self-deporting and then have a pathway to apply for citizenship? I think he's calling the DNC's bluff for saying he's inhumane. Who cares? Who cares if they say he's inhumane? They're still going to say it. They're not going to. No one's changing their opinion on him. I'm angry at him. I'm not changing my opinion on him. And the left hates him, and they're not changing his opinion on him. Who the hell changed their opinion on him today? Doesn't do anything. It's not changing, and not a single person is changing their opinion on him because he's taking this stance. That's just not reality. Sorry, I don't mean to. I think I just spoke to one. I think I just spoke to you in a kind of condescending tone. I'm just very frustrated. It was rude of me, and I apologize for that. I'm not angry at you, but I'm just like, I'm not angry at you, Spuds. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have spoken like that. Just a bad day. Just a bad day. Bad day. Tell me where I'm wrong. Someone tell me where I'm wrong here. Tell me where I'm wrong. Spent an hour ranting. Should I start talking about California Padilla? Should we talk about Padilla? Should we talk about Padilla? Just a very, very long day. Hey, Peter. Good to see you. Peter Watkins. Check my email. We file emergency motion under Circuit Rule 27.3 for a stay pending the appeal. We should abolish it all. We need to fix this country. What does America first mean? We need to fix this country. This country has so many problems. So many problems. H-1B is an education turnstile to and from the USA. It's what Trump is trying to get at. Yeah. You DM'd me Sachs days ago? Wasn't that like a really long interview? Yeah, I'm not going through. Jim sent me Trump's appeal, which is 324 pages. I'm not going through 324 pages. I'm not going through 20 pages. Although it's all just the record from the case, from the court below. Trump upset about the H1. Oh, I got this already. Let me see. Let me see how long that thing is. about Ukraine, Russia, dangerous new escalation. I'm not talking about Ukraine.
Donald Trump ran.
It's 2 hours of Tucker Carlson talking about Ukraine, Russia. What do you want me to do with that, brother? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with that? Well, I don't know what you think I can possibly do with that. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing with me the motion. I'm not even going through the 38-page stupid ruling. I'm not. No. All right. 10 U.S.C. 252 is what Eisenhower used in Arkansas. Let's see what you're giving me here. 10 U.S.C. 252. 10 U.S.C. 252. Whenever the president considers that unlawful obstructions, combinations of assemblages, or rebellion against the authority of the United States make it impracticable to enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, he may call into federal service such a militia of any state and use such of the armed forces as he considers necessary to enforce those laws to suppress the rebellion. I don't know why he didn't use this. And frankly, he still may. Just because he was knocked out from being able to use what he said is under 10, what Breyer said is under 10 USC 12406, you can't take them. So he can issue a new order tonight, taking them under 10 USC 252. He still can do that if he's so inclined. But I'm okay with letting the place burn. The rants and rumble are very active tonight. Let's see what's going on here. Spud says, apology accepted, but the DNC has the bully pulpit on saying Trump's inhumane on illegals. Did you see the hearing with Hochul, Waltz, and Pritzker? I think he's heading them off at the pass. Listen. If you want something, if you're making a wedding, so you hire someone who is good at making weddings. You usually don't ask questions about what they do in their personal life or whatever. You're hiring that person who's good at that thing. Whether or not you agree with their politics, whatever it is, you hire the best for that role. If you want someone to be escorting you when you are going to do a drug deal, you get someone who is ferocious looking. That's the best for that moment. That's what you need. You need someone who is able to get it done. These are not people who are acting pretty. They're not people who would be wedding planners. They're people who are effective at getting it done. So if you need to get something ugly done, and it is ugly going into a house and saying, hey, dad of 4, you're an illegal alien, adios. It's ugly. With mother crying and stuff like that, it's ugly. I'm telling all these kids, you got to go. It's even uglier. Telling a woman she got to go. It's ugly. But that's why you're there. That's why you're given this position. And yeah, of course, the idiot shriekers are screaming, look how cruel you need someone who is able to get the job done. If you have a cow and the village is starving and you need to slaughter the cow, to feed the people so they don't starve to death. You need someone who has the cojones to go in there and do something that is ugly and is willing to slaughter the cow and carve it into pieces. It's not pretty work. It's gross. It's, for many people, stomach turning. You need someone who's going to be willing to slaughter the cow and feed the village. And that person is a savior. And that's why we elected Trump, to be our savior, to take those hits, to say, I don't care what barbs you throw at me. I don't care how you view me. I don't care what stupid names you want to label me about being cruel and heartless or whatever. It's not like he's got to win another election. It's not like he even has any sort of political aspirations in the future that he's trying to make sure he's able to insulate here. He is in the perfect position to go out there and do what needs to get done as he promised, as he said over and over again. If he is the butcher in this analogy, and he's the perfect one to play the role of the butcher. And we all voted for him to be the butcher. And 60% of Americans want him to be the butcher. So you're going to sit here worrying about the other 40% or the other 2%, which is, who are actually vocal enough to care about it? When that's why we put you in there? When there's very little downside for you? And start justifying about the farmers? Start giving us your justifications about the farmers? I don't hear you stinking justifications about the farmers or the price of food where they're going to be upset at you. Who cares? Who cares? So let them jack up the price of food and we'll all pay it. That's why we put you in there. And it's ugly. But that's why we put in someone there who's not this refined speaker, but is willing to be blunt, willing to say and do things that no other president has ever been willing to do. That's what you ran on, and that's why we voted for you. So, no, I'm not looking for you to win popularity contests with the Hockles of the world or the Walzes of the world or the Pritzkers of the world. 3 people who deserve zero respect. You happen to mention 3 people there who should be shunned by society and somehow made a pact with the devil that they actually have ascended to some sort of thrones over the levers of power in their respective states. Who cares? Let them spit at you. Let them curse you. This is what you're supposed to do. And that's what makes you the hero. That's what's heroic about it. If 100% of the people are behind you on it, then there's nothing heroic about it. You're just the guy who happens to be standing in front with the cleaver. It's because of the fact that it's hard. Because of the fact that it's ugly. Because of the fact that most people can't do it. And you're willing to stand in there and do it. That's the heroic element to it. That's why we give you the praise. And start coming up with justifications as to why we're not going to be doing it. Or only doing it to the ones who are, hardcore criminals who torture beagles, diddle children, that's the only ones we're moving. No, I'm sorry, that's inexcusable. And let's welcome in, everyone learn Chinese. As we welcome in 500,000 Chinese students. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? Who the hell signed up for that? Let me ask you this. Think about this for a second. And I'm not just talking to you, obviously, Spuds. I'm talking to all 4,000 you were watching right now. Did he ever say anything about, let's bring in the Chinese people at a single rally? Did he ever talk about insulating farmers from the hardships of having to get rid of illegal aliens? That ever come up at any of his rallies? No. Why not? Because he knows that none of his constituents are voting for that. So if you weren't willing to say it at a rally, it should not be a position you're embracing 140 days into your administration. Because that feels like a betrayal. All of a sudden, brand new, oh, look at this. I just woke up and I realized we got to look out for our farmers. Let me tell you the story about the guy who's been working for 20 years, hard working for his family, just never bothered becoming a legal citizen during all that time. Let me tell you his story. No. If I want to hear that story, I would have gone to a Kamala Harris rally. Kamala Harris can tell you lots of stupid stories like that. Did you vote for Kamala Harris? I'm sure Tim Walz has lots of heartwarming stories. Did I vote for freaking Tim Walz? No, I voted against Tim Walz. I saw Tim Walz and I rejected it. And 77 million others rejected that. Said, no, we don't want Tim Walz. We want this guy. So now he's trying to find favor with Tim Walz? Why? As a clown. You're trying to find favor with the clowns. What does that make you? I'm dropping very harsh words on President Trump because I feel somewhat hurt. I'm missing some great rants from before Spuds last hour. What did I miss? I got Jay Schwalbeck. Got that one. That's the only one I see. There's another one from JH saying, I didn't want you to think that I think you're a weenie, just that you swing one. Ask Jim. Well, thank you, brother. I think that's a compliment. eGrab says, here's a tip to keep you honest. Thank you, good Lawgic, and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. I have not yet covered Israel, Iran. I saw that Israel went in there and bombed Iran. I pray for their soldiers. Rumor has it the Ninth Circuit just stayed Breyer's TRO. Really? Now I gotta check that out. Nicely done, Tesla and Joe. I'm large. Bennett Miller and Sung Circuit Judges. The court has received the government's emergency motion for stay pending appeal. Docket number 5, the request for administrative stay is granted. District Court's June 12, 2025 temporary restraining order is temporarily stayed, meaning Breyer's injunction taking the California National Guard from Trump is stayed pending further order. So that Breyer's work today is not going into effect. The response to the emergency motion is due June 15th, meaning that Newsom has to respond to this motion by June 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific. The optional reply in support of the emergency motion, meaning Trump's reply to Gavin's opposition, is due June 16th, one day later at 9 a.m. Panel will hold a remote hearing by Zoom on June 17th, 2025, which is going to be next Tuesday. On Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, we have a remote Zoom hearing by Zoom. Should I skip out of court for that? I don't know. I don't even know. Thank you for calling that to my attention, Tesla Joe. Oh, because that's under insurrection law? That's why he didn't use it? Interesting. Sure, this won't embolden the peaceful protesters when, for all intents and purposes, are getting what they want. It's the stupidest thing. It's so stupid. That's why I was like, let it burn. Fine. You want to let it burn? burn. Let it burn. Let it burn. Ninth Circuit already administrative state. Thank you. Promises made, promises broken. Bannon will not be on board with any of this. Posse will be swarming like angry bees at POTUS. Let the memes begin. Yeah. Yeah. The one hopeful thing that I have here, the one thing I'm hoping, the one thing that I'm hopeful for is that perhaps he will hear from folks like me, or those who have more recognized microphones than mine. And notice I didn't say bigger microphones. I said more recognized microphones. Those who have more recognized microphones than mine and change course. Because he has shown that he does listen. He does listen. So perhaps he will change course when he sees the outrage that his most loyal constituents are feeling. And that's why I let the rage flow, in the hopes that I and others who feel similarly will express their outrage. And it doesn't just mean people who have a microphone. You can call and complain. You can call and complain and say, hell no. Hell no. Don't give me 5 million. You should be saying 0 Chinese nationals coming here. 500,000. Ridiculous. Why so few? There's a billion of them. That's such a small number. Jay Schwalbeck says, hey, sorry I got here late. I was watching Jim's other channel, Jim Smells You, where he goes around and describes people's odor. Kamala, you stinky was the best. I'm going to make you laugh. Thank you. You're awesome, JH. Thank you. So, Gavin Newsom is celebrating. Oh, look, we got the big win. We got the big win. How'd that work out for you, Gavin? It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Not that I have much confidence. I don't have much confidence. I almost opened the show with this. Oh, actually, before I get to that.
And dear to my heart.
Hold on 1 second. Where the heck was I just a second ago? Did I close some of my tabs? I got too many tabs. Oh, I know where I was. All right. He's all excited, Newsom. He's not a king. Newsom extols court and guard win over Trump. California Governor Gavin Newsom lit into President Donald Trump on Thursday, heralding a new day in this country after a federal judge ordered the president to end his unilateral deployment of the state's National Guard troops. He's not a monarch. He's not a king, and he should stop acting like one, Newsom told reporters outside the federal courthouse after an emergency hearing. in downtown San Francisco. He said, "Today is a big day for the Constitution of the United States, for our democracy, and I hope it's the beginning of a new day in this country where we push back against overreach." Shut up, idiots. Idiot. Well, it's not really such a new day when his order's been stayed. So here is more thoughts from Gavin Newsom.
Hey guys, Gavin Newsom here. I wanted to talk to you about something very important to me, something near and dear to my heart. During last night's riots, ICE officers arrested and deported my pool boy, Roberto. Yes, I was having an affair with him. And yes, I miss
People send me this stuff. People send me this stuff. This is what I get. People send me this.
him already. Roberto and I had a
Why do people send me stuff like this? I don't need to see stuff like this. I don't need to see stuff like. Why do people send me this?
special relationship. I would pay him only a few pesos and he would take off his shirt and do my pool wearing Daisy Dukes. And I would watch him as he bent over to clean that dirty pool. Anyway, Donald
Why do people send me this? I don't understand.
Trump took that away from me by deporting Roberto. So now I'm pissed and sad. There will never be another Roberto in my life. This is not what I voted for. Thank you.
Why do people send me that? I didn't ask for that. The only concession I made on immigration legit scares me. Every generation from baby boomers to Gen Z, average populations of 70 million. Gen Alpha, all kids under 13, has population of 38 million. Half. Yeah. Joe, click on Jim's Nick Sorter link in chat. I think that's what I just did, but oh my God. Nine illegals detained by ICE have just escaped the Newark ICE facility after a reported riot. Anti-ICE rioters are now blocking federal agents from chasing the escapees. Every single one of them should be arrested now, indeed, or shot.
Back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Oh, fuck no. Get back. Oh, bro. I'm crashing your own car. Crashing your own fucking car.
This is like 10 miles from where I am right now. I'm probably seeing like racing down my street.
Yo, it's dumb as fuck crashing your own car, bro. Dumb as fuck. Get back. What are you doing? Get that out of here. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that. Come on. Put that away. Put that away. Come on, man. Look at the skin. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to get hit with the... Where's the tower? Sneaker pack, bro. Sneaker pack, so smart. Hey, turn the shit off. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Supporting innocent immigrants. How can you live with yourself? They're innocent. Everyone immigrated here to this country. Thank you. It is not your right to deport. Are you the boss? Fuck you. Come on. Fuck you. You're on the wrong side of history. You coward. Nazi scum. Nazis in a Nazi. Yeah, Nazi. Nazi scum. Nazi scum. Nazi scum. Nazi scum. Hey, go on. Go on. Nazi scum. Nazi scum.
This is the party that was supporting putting masks, forcing toddlers to mask up, screaming about authoritarianism. This is the party that wants to burn books about history. Well, we want to get rid of books displaying pornography of children. Screaming Nazi scum. This is the party which was all in favor of ratting out their neighbors for having gatherings or watering their lawn. Talk about Nazis. Idiots. Stupid people. Stupid. I'm tired of the useful idiots. I'm going to send Malta al Sico. These people are scum. Unbelievable. Just outrageous. Thanks for sharing that, Jim. I should talk to you about Alex Padilla's little stunt today. Let's talk about Alex Padilla and his stupid stunt today. Do it this way. Before I get to that, we talk about Democrats making complete asses out of themselves. This is great. This is great. Thank you, Jim.
Do you think men should be allowed in women's restrooms?
Mr. Gill is questioning Governor Pritzker, the fat wealthy slob. This is literally the fat cat.
I'm not sure why this has come to this issue.
You tweeted that as a protest against President Trump, everyone should use the other gender's bathroom today. Have you ever used the women's restroom?
Not that I can recall ever, sir.
You wanted everybody else to do it, but you didn't?
Sir, I'm not sure why we're on a topic that has nothing to do with
you're
today's
advocating for men to
You want
use
anyone
women's
else to do it, but you didn't?
do it?
I do not advocate that, no.
Well, actually, you did. You said everyone should use the other gender's bathroom today.
I can tell you that you are
regret saying
politicizing this in a way that what we ought to be focusing on is
Do you
the
regret
failure of the federal
encouraging men to
government
use women's restrooms?
and the Congress to deal with immigration reform.
Do you regret encouraging men to use women's restrooms?
Again, you're taking us on topics that have.
Did you ever
nothing to
consider
do
that
with
women don't
the
want you in
subject
their,
that you
in their
invited us here
bathrooms?
for?
Do you think men should be allowed?
Oh. Yeah. That was great. This is Tim Walz getting stumped on what is a woman.
Okay. What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question here.
Well, that.
What
Okay.
do you want me to say? This is
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women. You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women. You don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a misogynist. You're a sexist. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Congresswoman. Good lady.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, before we get to Padilla, let's go through more of Walz getting roasted. Just going to run through these real quick.
You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hardworking, law-abiding citizen of Minnesota, your safety and well-being are not the priorities of Tim Walz and his administration. But if you're coming to our state illegally, you're not only welcome with open arms, you're entitled to free stuff on the taxpayer's dime. This is absolutely disgraceful.
Tom Emmer.
You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hardworking, law-abiding the law. In May 2020, looting, acts of violence, and arson occurred on your watch in Minneapolis after you refused to bring in the National Guard. Governor, your agenda is clear. Free health care, free college and driver's licenses for illegals while handcuffing law enforcement when they're trying to protect our citizens and their communities. If you think that's not a sanctuary state, you shouldn't be governor. By turning Minnesota into a magnet for illegals, you have opened up our communities to dangerous criminals, including known terrorists, gang members, murderers, and child predators. You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hardworking, law-abiding citizen of Minnesota, your safety and well-being are not the priorities of Tim Walz and his administration. But if you're coming to our state illegally, you're not only welcome with open arms, you're entitled to free stuff on the taxpayer's dime. This is absolutely disgraceful. Governor Walz, your sanctuary state agenda has been defined by your utter failure. You have failed to enforce the rule of law. You have failed to uphold our national sovereignty. And most importantly, you have failed the people of Minnesota. The time for radical sanctuary state policy, sir, is over. The voters made that clear last November when they elected President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance.
And they should have, and Trump should remember that.
You remember him, don't you? Governor, the time for real leaders and real leadership is now. And with that, sir, actually, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to introduce into the record the governor's tweet that I referenced from May 23rd, 2018, which makes it clear his hatred for federal law enforcement. Thank you.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And Plena Luna destroying Governor Tim Walz for his scheduled speech. Let's see what she's bringing for us.
That you're tracking actually had an internal memo that was released that stated that the government of China considered you a prime target for influence operations. I'm letting you know that now because I do believe that you should be made aware of, if you are not already, that you are working with and going to be speaking at an organization and rally that not is just funded by Christy Walton, the heiress of Walmart, but also has ties to the Chinese Progressive Association, largely funding it, that actually brags on their website that they are pro-Maoist. Also, too, funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. I know there's a lot of people on this committee that don't like billionaires interfering in politics, but say nothing when George Soros gets over $260 million from USAID through the last administration that's then funneled into some of these nonprofits and organizations. So I guess my question for you guys is, now that I've made you aware that these riots are not about illegals and they're not about immigrants, if they did, they would have been protesting under Barack Obama, who's also dubbed the deporter-in-chief. And frankly, I think many of you would say that Barack Obama was a good president. Are you going to say that Barack Obama wasn't a good president? Yes or no, Governor Walz? Do you think he was a good president?
Do I think Barack Obama was a
Correct.
good president? I think he did a good job.
Okay, how about you, Governor Pritzker?
I think he did a good job. Yes.
Hochul?
Hochul, and yes, he did do a good job.
Okay, next. Perryman?
I think President Obama did a good job.
So then you would understand that Barack Obama had the very same policies for the most part on immigration that Republicans are parroting today, and yet you guys are sitting here saying that we're Gestapo. And what I would tell you is that what happens with open borders is that the real people that are coming here, the ones that are exploited, actually it hurts people on both sides, not just Americans, but the illegals. Some of you had said here to the actual committee that you are doing what you can to assist these people. But what I would say is that your policies aren't actually done from a place of understanding and sympathy. I would say that it's actually doing the exact opposite. And when you use brown people, just like they use black people with BLM and Marxists during BLM to usher that in, when you use brown people and you put Mexican flags with them saying that you stand up for illegal immigrants, but you follow the money and it's going back to the Communist Party, what you're essentially doing is using your platform as elected officials, the trust that the American people have put in you, essentially to usher in communism. You're not actually fighting for American values. Don't roll your eyes because it's a serious topic and that's where the money's coming from. So now I'm informing you, so now you guys can make your decisions, but please be informed, sir, Mr. Walls, that if you truly do uphold the American ideologies and perspectives on the Constitution, you should not be speaking at that rally. I've given you the correct information, and as of right now, I've authorized a letter to be sent to my office to the President of the United States to rescind millions of dollars in funding that we know are going to the No Kings protests that were authorized and basically given under the last administration. That is what Congress is supposed to do, not point fingers, not blame people, but actually ensure that the American people are protected and not fighting for foreign interests, foreign governments, and also the communist.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
Dang, bringing it. Bringing it. All right, so I wanted to bring you this is what I want. Let's cover the Padilla story. I really want the angle that starts with okay. Do a quick. I want to find a different angle real quick here than what I have.
We are not
Okay, this is where I wanted to start.
going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically.
See, he's trying to be toxic. The reason I want to start from this angle is so you can appreciate the level of wrong. She's in the middle of addressing the public as the head of DHS about what's going on with the California National Guard. And here comes this clown purposefully trying to talk loud and interrupt. So security is removing.
Specifically to the rioters and to the politicians.
That clown is United States Senator Alex Padilla. If you're unfamiliar with Padilla, first and foremost, he's highly corrupt. He was corrupt long before he became a senator. I read a whole expedition. I covered on this, I think on this show years ago, like in the early days, the backstory on Alex Padilla, like one of the first live streams I ever did. It's so long ago that I forgot the levels of corruption. I just remember thinking, wow, because he's the senator who was picked by Newsom to replace Kamala Harris. So
in Los Angeles.
He's been senator since 2021. And
Angeles. Matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically.
Let's get a full view here of what went down.
Padilla, I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is,
see how he's pushing back into that?
A dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your. I also want to hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked?
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go,
That's the United States Senator.
Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right? For what, I'm sorry? There's no recording allowed out here. That's my boss. There's no recording allowed out here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here. I'm not a member of the press. There's no recording allowed. I understand that, sir, but.
By the way, if you're watching on X, and for one reason or another tonight, I have an extensively large audience on X. I saw there's like 4,000 people on X. I urge you to come on into either YouTube or Rumble channel called Good Lawgic and join the conversation, because that's where the real conversation is happening. And if you can watch here on either YouTube or Rumble, either one's fine. You can participate with other like-minded individuals who appreciate the type of content that I'm trying to provide. So the reason I put it up on X, first of all, if you only watch me on X, you miss like probably a good third to half of of the content I produce. And yeah, you'll probably want to check that out also. It's free to subscribe. You can go do it either place. Here's Jonathan Turley's thoughts about Alex Padilla today. Senator Alex Padilla just disrupted the press conference with Secretary Noem. It was an extraordinary act by a sitting senator. But Governor Newsom just supported Padilla in this disruptive act. The scene captured the race to the bottom by Democratic politicians, in fueling the rage as violent protests unfolded around the country. Padilla started to yell at Noem and become a virtual troll or crank at a press conference. The incident appeared entirely performative to appeal to those coming to the city to protest the parade celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. Senator Padilla has now issued a statement that he was in the building to exercise oversight. This is what these congressmen think, that these people from Congress think it's their job to do like hands-on oversight, as if that's like a thing. I was merely trying to ask a question. Minority Leader Schumer is irate with Noem. However, for those watching the presser, Padilla just started to yell at Noem and interrupt her as she was speaking, citing one's oversight authority as reminiscent of Representative MacIver. There's often a degree of deference given members, but shouting down a cabinet member speaking at a press conference is not a matter of deference. It's a matter of disruption. He's also accused of resisting officers who did not know who he was and why he was approaching Noem.
Alex Padilla, I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is,
yeah, he's pushing into them.
A dozen violent criminals.
You gotta keep pushing into them.
On your
and screaming loudly to kind of disrupt it.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked for doing their
Specifically trying to disrupt it. So let's talk about the legality of that. Even CNN's legal expert shames Casey with the facts about Senator Alex Padilla's unhinged actions. This is great. She wants like legal support for what Alex Padilla did.
Point. This is a federal building. You can't just, wander in there necessarily. What reporting do you have, and how should we, in your view, be analyzing how we're seeing these agents respond?
Well, it's easy to think about this as one incident, but actually from a law enforcement perspective, we're really looking at 3 separate incidents that happened within a short period of time. First, you have the DHS secretary who is addressing the press. This was not a Q&A period, and she's interrupted. She's interrupted by someone who is speaking very loudly, and so her security detail confronts what we obviously now know to be the senator, and at that point, he is now going to be escorted out. You can't interrupt something like that that's already in progress without having those consequences. But the second incident, in my view, happens the moment as officers are trying to lead him out, he then turns and walks back towards kind of into those agents. At that point, from a security detail perspective, we're taking this person out against their will. We've asked the person, and again, this is all happening very quickly, but the moment he then turns into them, they realize this is not someone who is going to comply.
He's doing it on purpose because he wants to be cuffed. That's what's happening here. He wants to be cuffed. He wants to have, oh, look at me. I'm a victim. I'm fighting so hard. Oh, look at them. They're taking me down over here. Look at them taking me down because the Gestapo is taking me down. That's what he's doing. So he's presenting himself as a security risk. And this way he could say, well, obviously I'm a United States Senator. I'm not a security risk. And yet they're taking even me down because they're such Gestapos. They're taking down their political enemies. Lunacy. These are evil people. They're evil people. Terrible human beings. Awful. It's great. So now he buys his man ponds on Temu. Jesus. Benny and the IDF have stopped and removed in 3 hours Iran's nuke capabilities, something the administration can only talk about. Thank you, Benny. I think that this is a reference to Netanyahu. Thank you, Benny and Israel, for true leadership protecting our democracy. Well, actually, if you're talking about Israel, they are a democracy. They are a democracy. So I'm not sure if you're talking about, if you're referring to America, we're a republic. Smash 100%. There you go. The illegal CCP police station is still operating in Minneapolis. Minnesota state representatives forced Minnesotans to fund Somali youth college degrees. The state's $18 billion surplus is gone. Minnesota is now over $10 billion in debt. Surprise, surprise. J6ers get lots of time for a lot less. Yep. They got lots of time for a lot less. Yeah, we live in a society. Indeed. Or as Tim Pool says, charge him with obstructing official proceeding and lock him up for 3 years. So they should do. All right. Kyle Becker saying, remember when Democrats wanted American citizens thrown in jail for disrupting official proceeding? Yep. I remember. Meanwhile, in Florida, with everyone expecting that on Saturday there's going to be rallies across the country and riots across the country.
So I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that.
This is Florida.
If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
There you go. There you go. That's how you do it. All right. Thanks for the fat finger couch money. Much obliged, Brian. I forgot that I labeled you that. I forgot about that. Here's another base state for you. Governor Abbott deployed 5,000 National Guard soldiers and 2,000 state troopers across Texas to maintain order. With the upcoming protests, Texas will not tolerate the lawlessness we've seen in L.A. L.A. was a beacon. Everyone's like, we're not becoming L.A.
Oh, yeah. Texas National Guard.
Florida is the FAFO state.
Rolling in with their equipment.
That's why I said, like, it feels like Florida is calling my name to move there.
Shield. Here, and then you've got a third bus. That's the third bus right there that has shown up with lights and sirens. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, I don't think we need to see 3 minutes. You get the point. Texas National Guard.
Absolutely beautiful, guys.
They're not here to play.
Here comes a whole nother group coming out of this bus right now. They got their gear ready to go over here.
That's right. We're going to war.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Feels like we're going to war. This is what we got to do. So long, mommy. I'm off to kill a commie. So pack me a salami. And don't look so sad. I will look for you when the war is over. An hour and a half from now. I shouldn't know that, but I do. I know Texas has no state taxes. How the heck how do they live? What do they live on? Let's see what else we got for you here. I said I got a lot more. Amy Klobuchar is saying today we heard from Felicia, a single mom of 4 who works up to 3 jobs at a time to make ends meet. She counts on SNAP to help put food on the table. Let me tell you something. Food doesn't stay on the table here, okay? There's no food on the table. Food is not staying on the table. Food might be going down her gullet. Food is not staying on the table. She relies on SNAP. She's getting plenty of SNAP. She gets a lot of SNAP. She's getting SNAP, 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 SNAP. She's getting more than her fair share of SNAP. Listen to her story. Listen to her story. I hate Amy Klobuchar's voice. She sounds like a 17-year-old who's. She sounds like Peter Brady. Every time I hear Amy Klobuchar talk, I think she's about to say, "Sha-na-na-na-na." Sha-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na. We gotta go big screen with this one.
I am a single mom of 4 who are ages 21, 17.
That's not a mom of 4. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm a dad of 6, but I'm not sitting here saying that for the ones who are over 25 that hey, I need sympathy. 21, 17,
12 and 11. I would
can't believe that someone found that within the last 12 years.
like to tell you my story on how SNAP benefit has helped me. Sorry.
Go ahead. You're doing good.
When I had
Mom of 4 eating for 5.
my oldest daughter 21 years ago,
What does this have to do with now?
I was working 3 jobs.
Oh my God.
One job alone, I had to pay childcare.
Okay. What it?
Another one to pay food,
I don't know what we're supposed to get out of this.
and which wasn't enough, and one bill or
I'm sure it wasn't enough.
one to pay the bills, and I still struggled alive.
Every day's a struggle, honey. Every day. They call it the stairs.
Moving forward, I am now working a
Moving forward, you really?
full-time job as a bus monitor, and I'm a driver who transports students to specialized schools in Kansas City. As an employee of the school district, I only get paid once a month. By the time I get my bills paid, I have nothing left to pay for food and other basic needs. If it wasn't for SNAP benefits, I wouldn't be able to feed my children or myself. I work, pay my bills, and like every other mom, I want to be sure that I have enough food to put on the table.
Yeah, maybe this is the answer. Stop having kids out of wedlock. Maybe that's it. You know, maybe that's the answer. Baby daddy not in the picture. Life's tough. Get a helmet. Wanted to share with you. We have a 250th anniversary. The reason why I think that I only realize now that they're trying to do it for Trump's birthday. They're trying to no kings for Trump's birthday. That's why they're like, this is perfect. This is perfect. We're gonna do it for Trump because his birthday is the 14th, right? I was gonna say. There you go. If you would, you should step up. All right. I think it's time for me to land my plane here. I think it's time. We're going to land the plane. Let me do a quick check here. Make sure I miss anything in the ghetto. We got to check the ghetto and check locals. 4,000 X and 296 on Rumble. I think Joe needs to pay attention to X. That's what TX47 says. Bill Dozer rating the stream. God bless you. Thank you so much, brother. Spud says Joe Langworthy rips apart Hochul over the green light law, which prevents the state and local enforcement from cooperating with ICE and CBP. I was impressed. Nice. Nice. Rosalian shared a link saying,
I want your Jew gold.
oh my God, how has Noble Gold not found me yet?
I want your Jew gold.
How have they not found me yet? How? How's that not happened yet? I need to know.
Okay, fine. Here. Now let's go. Do you think I'm stupid? I know that all Jews carry fake bags of gold around their necks to keep the real bags of gold around their necks safe. Hand up.
Oh my God, that's genius.
Over the real Jew gold, Cap.
He's got the second bag of gold. It's a wise move. It's a wise move. Most people aren't as shrewd as Cartwright. This Cartwright. Ah, there you go. That was a good link, Guzelian. I hope I don't get dinged for it. Hopefully I won't get dinged for it. She only worked 3 jobs 21 years ago. Today, it's 1 job as a bus aide. Snap allowed her single dead-end job not to pay fair wages. for Snap is corporate welfare, 100%. Yep. Tells you a story about what happened 21 years ago. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Did I miss anything else here? Make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got it all. Do a quick check over here. We're good. What's this? Oh, okay. Yeah. You want to know what the diggers are talking about? This is what the diggers do. This is what the diggers are talking about. This is what the diggers are talking about. Current results for annual average humidity in Florida. Why? I don't know. But that's what diggers do. Diggers be digging. They just talk about nothing. If I say anything that just like it's like the diggers are basically, they're like the squirrel people. Because really the most important thing in life is that you need to remember that squirrel. That's my diggers. God bless you guys. I did say I want to move there. That's true. I didn't mean tomorrow. Maybe I was unclear about that, Dave. Maybe I was mildly unclear about that. It's possible. All right. Let me land my plane. I wore myself out in the first hour where I spent an hour screaming. I think that's the longest rant I ever had. Did you discuss thoughts on Israel attacking Iran? I did not discuss Israel attacking Iran. Is a short one? From what I understand, the only time I discussed it was when I had this chat that came in earlier. I made my position about America and Israel clear many times, but I haven't brought it up recently. So I'll tell you right now, my position is this. I never want to see troops in the Middle East under any circumstances. I just don't want them in the Middle East, period. Under any circumstances. I don't want them going there. I don't want American money going to Israel. But I also don't think it's right to say that that's the only place we need to cut off. If you're going to tell me that we're going to go America first and not give foreign aid, I say 100% cut out all aid for everyone. Cut out all aid for everyone, including Israel. Israel's got to learn to stand on its own 2 feet. And I've even made the point that, like, a real friend says, hey, I'm not taking money from you all the time. They should be a real friend. That's my position. Israel's grown. They can survive. They're smart. They can handle it. They'll figure it out. That's my position. So, no, I don't want to be sending them money. I don't want to be sending them troops. When someone comes and says, that's the only place we need to cut money off from, I'm like, that's not America first. That's just You have Israel issues for whatever reason. That's not for me to speculate on, but you have Israel issues. If that's the one the only one you're worried about when there's billions of dollars being shipped that we ship all over the world. I'm totally on board with saying no more aid anywhere outside of our country. So that's my position on it. Oh, and what a friend also does is says, you got security concerns that are unlike anything we've ever had to face. So whatever you do, we're going to tell the world you're awesome and do what you need to do because you understand your security concerns in ways we never have. We can't ever genuinely appreciate because every one of your civilians is on the front lines pretty much every day. So we're going to let you do whatever you need to do. And if you think you need to do preemptive strikes against Iran, all right, we'll do it. That's what I want America to do with Israel. Tell Netanyahu, you trust that you're not going to go crazy and, just kill indiscriminately. They've displayed for 75 years that they don't try to kill indiscriminately. Doesn't mean there aren't mistakes, but then we'll have your back, but we're not sending money, we're not sending you troops. That's what I think is a proper America where we have an alliance with you. And we're happy to have healthy trade agreements with you and stuff of that nature. That's what I think is the proper response from America. As America, that's what I want to see. Or just send me a short one. It's not. I don't see it in X, so I'm not sure where you sent it. Do you guys know who Ben Rhodes is? Because I'm not sure I know who he is. Trump upset about H-1B, not about 500,000 Chinese looking to learn and live in the USA and teach the art of perfect egg rolls and chicken fried rice. What happened all of a sudden? All these people are coming in here now. Need to pick me up, going to watch Israel at work. There you go. There you go. I know what they're doing. They wiped out half of the IRGC. Iron Dome is terrible name. No, Bamaka Yamaka. That's a better name. Half of IRGC leadership, I meant. Okay, that sounds more feasible. Good. NATO apparently called for Canada to take up arms. Is that meant to work in coercion against the U.S., NATO, Canada, Mexico, all suffering from TDS? I don't know. I want us out of NATO also. I don't know why we have NATO. Well, Ron Coleman shared this with me. So before I go, let me share this. I don't know what it is. He was responding to Ben Rhodes saying this is all so unnecessary, all of it everywhere. He's probably talking about the Israel attack. So since you guys are all down with that, because he's a stupid MSNBC idiot. Ron Coleman responded, sorry for your loss. So sad. You look so sad. You look so sad.
Narrow streets of
well done, Ron.
I mean,
I mean, I that's great. That's great. Oh, he was Hillary's chief of staff. Good logic on X, right? It's a message. It's not good logic on X. No, I'm at the following pro on X. You don't know the story? How I got shafted out of the name Good Logic on X? You don't know the story? How some friend decided to help me out by picking it up and then never gave it back when I wanted it? Yeah. Some friend. Thank God a friend saved me. Thank God. I've been trying to get out of here for like 20 minutes. I know. I'm trying to shut it down. Happy anniversary, Rachel Boone. Her anniversary is on the 14th. All right. I thank you all. I'm back in court tomorrow. So, yeah. I dropped a video today about new government corruption. If you care at all about government corruption, new government corruption that came up in the Diddy trial today. So, a new government cover-up, not corruption. It's really cover-up. More Maureen Comey antics. More Maureen Comey antics. So, if you're interested in checking that out, now's a good time. Because you're not going to be eating lab meat. That's for they, them. It's not for you. You're not eating the bugs. So go check it out. And good night. And Godspeed.